Hi everyone, I'm Sine,
And I'm Cleone.
and this is the Aesthetic Perspective.
I think for me, being able to actually handle rejection is quite important.
Absolutely.
When it comes to sales. That's
Yes.
something that people don't understand. The amount of times you are actually, once again, in every industry, in every role, there's going to be someone who looks down on you.
In my first job, I didn't really have a work-life balance. It was all work, and kind of, make as much money as possible in that moment while I'm there.
Be sure to know who you are. Even in your work environments, people may, I want to almost say, not value your opinion.
Yes. That has been the most valuable thing, to have a mentor and to work towards a vision.
Welcome back, everyone. This is our official part 2 for our somatology introduction that we did. We are super excited to actually be delving a little bit deeper into the industry for where we are now. We spoke a lot about where we were, what we experienced studying somatology. We spoke a little bit about the highs and about the lows. But what I want to do now is we want to really get into where we are now and hopefully inspire someone that is maybe in a place where they're like, should I have chosen this industry? Should I have not? So maybe we could just unpack that a little bit. Sune, I want to ask you, what led to your journey? And when we look at your journey, what led to you being now a product specialist and a trainer? You've obviously grown so much in a year, but what have you in your personal life as well? What have you done to get where you are now?
I absolutely love this question. I'm actually getting a bit emotional. So I think for me, I'm just going to take you guys back. So I studied. I then proceeded to work with a dermatologist and absolutely taught me all the knowledge in the world. She was absolutely incredible. I learned a lot about myself in those times and kind of where my limits were. And it was definitely tested a bunch of times. As you know, I think we all went through that, breakdown sessions quite a few times while being in your first job. I think they really challenged me a lot, but I'm super grateful because after that, I actually worked with another doctor, an aesthetic doctor, and she was the one that actually taught me about work-life balance. Because I think in my first job, I didn't really have a work-life balance. It was all work, and kind of, make as much money as possible in that moment while I'm there, super committed to career things. I very much neglected anyone else in my life. I was just all about work. I think the hours and the working conditions obviously had a role in that. But I think for me, when I changed jobs, the doctor, they really gave me such a good perspective on how to be yourself and have time for your family, your friends, your partners, while still being super career driven. So I think I always say that was like my healing year. I just took a year for myself where no career growth was achieved. I always say I feel like I wasted a whole year of my life. But when I look back, that was really where the shift mentally came in for me. And I was so grateful when I look back because she made me human again. And I think where I am now, within the last year being a product specialist, I have completely skyrocketed in growth. It has been so good to me. I think I've learned how to deal with challenges differently. I've learned a lot about myself. I have the work-life balance kind of down. Sometimes you work a little bit more than you have fun. But I think the biggest challenge for me was really accepting that I can still have some fun and be super career driven at the same time. So that mental switch really to me was what made me who I am today.
That's great. What I really liked about what you're saying is you can be human and be in this industry as well. It has a very bad reputation. I know a lot, like I said on our part 1, there's a lot of people who are really unhappy.
Yes.
But you'll be surprised how many girls and how many somatologists are actually very, very happy because they've learned that balance.
Yeah.
And because they've learned that you can actually be human, you can have a life, you can also set healthy boundaries, which is something that is often pushed in this industry, especially for yourself. So being secure And also understanding that your identity isn't actually in your work, which is something that I've struggled with in the past as well. So being not happy with my career or being not happy with the place that I'm at put a lot of attention on my identity as well and myself, until I actually realized that if you are secure in yourself, that is when you'll start thriving in your career and in your job anyway.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Would you say that your journey has kind of taught you how to, differentiate or break your identity from your career, and how did you get to that point? I think so many people, anyone really, not even just in our industry, when we just start working, we have these expectations, your parents are like, you have to be the best, and you put so much stress on yourself. How did you kind of overcome that?
I think when I was a therapist, I was definitely burnt out. That's just because I really turned from studying to into work life. I actually turned into a very high performing individual, which I never was. So it was difficult for me to be doing everything 100% or trying to in that workplace or in that area of life that I was at. So I ended up really burning out to a point where I was mentally definitely not fine. Yes, mentally not okay. Had to take a day or two or a week just to recuperate myself. But we can't always be everything for everyone, obviously. So once again, I think just boundaries are super important. But then I want to say that when it comes to when I made the shift to the company that we are at now, and to Stern, I really value the support system that they actually give us.
I love that. Yes.
And our MD, which is absolutely amazing, I would not have been where I am today. And yes. I was actually driving past the salon that I worked at when I just canned everything and went. I was like, no, let me just go and take a little bit of a chill 6 months. Like, let me just take a less demanding career or less demanding role. Absolutely. And he actually came and took me out of there. He was like, no, you're not doing that. And I still remember I was there for like maybe 2 weeks. Yes. We went for a coffee and he was like, no, you're going to come here.
I'm just going to scoot right in here.
That really, it did touch my identity, because now you go into a place where now you have to make it work yourself. So when you go into sales or you go into training, or I was specifically hired obviously for sales, I didn't really know who I was, which made it obviously challenging to then be secure in my work as well.
And your ability
Absolutely.
or your potential that lies within, when you're a bit uncertain of where you're at.
Absolutely. So I will forever be grateful for the opportunity that Stern has given me. And then I think I kind of grew. It is now my 4th year with Stern as a product specialist, as a trainer. I actually specialize in education now, obviously, which I didn't know I would have such a love for. But I think as you grow, you will learn to differentiate, because now when you go into a healthy company, I want to say that when you go into a healthy company, when you go into a healthy environment, you learn, oh, like you said, Nana, we can be human. So I can have a healthy marriage, and I can have a healthy body, and I can still look after myself, and I can have friendships. And that made me also realize that my identity doesn't just need to be in my work.
Yes,
if it makes sense.
I absolutely love that, Leo. So guys, I just want to take a moment. So Stern is really one of the best environments any girl can dream of. They really take such good care of you. And I think being in an environment that really nurtures you as a person, it does help you to basically evolve into that next level. And Leo, I actually want to focus a bit on environments we deal with within the industry, because obviously we are super blessed and super grateful for where we are at. But what have you heard, or what have you experienced in the industry that was a bit, not as great and fulfilling?
I think, do you mean in the setting that we are now? So from other clinics? Or?
Absolutely. I think a generalized feedback, a realistic expectation of what to expect or what is common within the industry. I think so many girls kind of experience the same thing, and they sometimes feel alone, but they're actually not. So I think if we unpack a bit about the environment, that'll be very helpful.
Absolutely. I think I definitely experienced a lot of, like I said, Nana, if your identity is not in who you are and you are not strong, you can easily feel like, oh, I studied the wrong thing because I feel like no one, or I feel like this, or I feel like people will often say you did an easy course, you did and that frustrates me because I know it's not that easy. People will look down on you. So once again, that would be my first thing. Be sure to know who you are. Even in your work environments, people may, I want to almost say, not value your opinion.
And belittle your ability.
Absolutely, belittle your ability. So being strong in who you are, being strong. I know I've studied for 3 years. I know what my knowledge is. I've often challenged superiors' knowledge on something, maybe skin or something, because I am sure that I know what I studied and I know how hard I've worked.
And you've invested your time into being sure.
100. So I think just once again being sure in who you are, know that you are valuable. Obviously, you're super valuable in this industry, even the somatologists at this point. You're very, very valuable because we see a lot of the bad stuff.
Absolutely.
I think that will bring me to my second point, which would be you as a somatologist will have to compete with people who did a 3-month course. Or I, being a product specialist, you will literally fall on your back if you hear how many people phone us and tell us, I am actually a lawyer. I want to go into the industry.
Yes.
I want to open a salon.
Yes. I am an accountant. Please, can you do some skin training for me?
Absolutely. Can you train us? That's something that you find quite a lot. Yes. And we, unfortunately, because of a regulation issue in South Africa, that's something you will need to compete at. So I often hear somatologists lowering their prices because this person down the road who did a 3-month course.
Buys their equipment from Take a Lot.
Absolutely. So I would say, once again, stand firm in who you are. You know you have good technology, or you know you have good knowledge. Don't lower your prices. Absolutely not, because those clients that are unhappy at that client will come to you anyway. That is literally my motto.
Because you are set apart. And I feel like if you establish that within yourself, like I am just different and I am, I am of good quality, I think automatically your clients will also feel that from you.
Absolutely. I think the other things that you would see is obviously so that was the first 2 points. I think thirdly, we're going to look at remuneration. It's a problem for me in this industry. I don't.
Absolutely.
And especially paying that amount of money. And I know even the girls in the universities, they also study this course. The somatologists, the private institutions, you come out and you get offered literally below minimum wage.
Literally, yes.
Which has happened to me personally. And I'm just like, how is that possible? So I think that's something, once again, it was really amazing that from the beginning, we ended up at people who actually looked after us, even the dermatologist we both worked at, which is amazing. So like I'm saying, there is good places.
Absolutely.
And they do take care of you. Yes. But unfortunately, something that I am seeing now is girls are, obviously they need to go to work and they do settle for quite little. Having this qualification, having gone all of that expense, it's quite an expensive course. I don't know if anyone knows this, but it's quite an expensive course. So just making sure that you are obviously not going to go and demand a very
no, you can't, unfortunately.
But just know that you can also work yourself up.
100%.
And when it comes to commission,
yes,
that's also where sales and retail is important.
Absolutely. And I think if you basically like focus on the additions to what you can earn, so let's say your basic isn't what you actually wanted or what you hoped for, I think if you really focus on retaining your clients and focusing on some of those retail sales, you can really put your income at a different class. And obviously they'll also see, the amounts and the commitment you put in. And sometimes what I've also seen is they start you off on quite a lowballing, salary or basic, but as soon as they see your commitment and they see your passion, they don't mind giving you more because you're committed to them.
Absolutely. That is super valuable. That is very, very valuable. And the thing is, obviously, everyone starts somewhere.
Yes, we have to also.
So you need to go in with that mindset as well.
Yes. But I think also once you do your research and you are equipped with what is happening within the industry, you'll also be able to see like where can I grow and what are my options, which actually leads me to some of the career paths you can actually take.
Absolutely.
Do you mind unpacking some of that for us?
I think we chatted a little bit about that on part 1. We said we can go social media. We said obviously you can own your own business. I have a lot of friends that went and they opened their own businesses, and they're super, super happy. It actually allowed them to be a full-time mom.
Yes.
It allowed them, not a full-time, but be a sometimes a full-time, an involved mom. It allowed them to work for themselves. It allowed them to have their own time, to make their own, and they are super, super happy. So that's one of the fields that I would definitely encourage you to look at.
Absolutely. If it's in your path, I mean, it's something you can definitely do. I find that sometimes one of the biggest concerns is all the competition within the industry, which I think deserves its own episode. But I think because we're all individual and we all bring something else to the table, there's always room for you to grow within your own clinic or your own setup. I absolutely love that.
100%. And I want to encourage everyone who's thinking, should I start my own business? Should I not?
This is us saying yes.
This is your confirmation. Yes, girl.
The confirmation you were looking for.
Go and get it. Because even though this market is so saturated, can I tell you that I think maybe 10% of those clinics or 20% of those clinics actually know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And people are hungry for people who know what they're doing and not just trying to sell you something.
Yes. And the thing is that we have so much information accessible. So your consumers actually know a lot now. So if you're a bit unsure, if you are not as equipped, they know exactly. They feel that uncertainty. So when you are like highly qualified, you have something new and fresh to bring to the table, they absolutely love that.
Exactly. Yeah. And when we're looking at opening your own business and starting your own business, like I said, Nana, I also encourage them to not compete with the people down the road who had a 2-week course and now they're also doing the same thing, because the right patients will also come your way.
Absolutely.
There are patients who you will attract, or your clients that you will attract, that are looking for that knowledge, and they are actually there to listen to you because they understand. The clients who come and they tell you, we get that often, I want this, give me a salicylic peel, give me a lactic peel, give me a this, because I know it does this and this and this, because they've done their own research. Yes. They're not necessarily your ideal clients anyway, because they're not going to stick to you long term. They know everything. So that's something that I want to encourage everyone by as well. So that would be obviously one of the options. We spoke about the social media. We spoke about that. What I want to really go into, and that is where we are now, is actually a little bit more sales focused, training focused. I know a lot of companies actually split the two.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're either a trainer or you're either a product specialist, right? So now I want to ask you, on a day-to-day basis, this is just for someone who maybe they see themselves, they're considering going into this. Yes. What does your day-to-day activities look like? What do you do?
Okay, a day in a life of Sunday. I must say, I try to have some routine happening. I must say this year I'm a lot more organized in terms of my routine than I was last year. But guys, this is actually very admin intensive. For those of you who think you're just gonna,
drive around,
take your coffee.
No,
like send 2 emails. I'm really sorry to burst your bubble. It's very admin intensive, and it's so important that you make it admin intensive. I wouldn't say that I love admin. It's not my favorite activity, but it does make me better in my job. When you have your systems and processes in place, you're keeping track of your clients, you know exactly who you're seeing next. So planning to me is most of my day usually. I love to be expectant of what my day has in for me. So I absolutely love, having that plan of action set up. So usually in the mornings when I have my coffee, I'll browse over my plan of action, which I usually did the evening before, just to make sure that I'm not super overwhelmed, because I can get overwhelmed quite easily when there's so much happening. But I think in a day in a life is absolutely like just managing your clients, who is on next, what potentials are you visiting. Yes, there are days where driving is a big part. I do a lot of phone calls, I do a lot of email outreaches, and then of course like Instagram has been really helpful. For those of you who don't know whether you should start an Instagram page for your career,
your second sign.
This is your second confirmation, because I think it just opens up a new avenue of communication and outreach. And I think that is basically like a short summary of a day in the life.
That's really cool. I think that this is something that I want to unpack actually. When we're looking at sales, so people, it's so glamorous. It looks amazing.
We travel all the time.
You're just traveling the whole time. It's actually quite intense. What I remember one of our product specialists that was like my right hand in the beginning, or my mentor, let's rather call her that. She said to me, sales is literally like having your own business as well.
Absolutely.
You're not managed, well, not at our company. Yeah. You're not managed to a point like in a busy clinic or in a busy salon.
Yes.
You are literally doing your own thing. And if you don't work, you will not see, obviously, the fruits of that.
Absolutely.
So that also pushes you a little bit more into, you need to drive yourself. And now if you weren't good at driving yourself as a therapist, how are you going to be good at driving yourself as a product specialist, as a sales rep, as a so that drive definitely needs to be there if you want to be successful in this. Self-motivating.
Yes.
I've always been a self-motivator. Look, I can pep talk myself out of a
changing the world
into out of a very dark hole, right? Yes. So super important if you want to go into sales or training. What I think there's, for me, being able to actually handle rejection is quite important.
Absolutely.
When it comes to sales. That's something that people don't understand. The amount of times you are actually, once again, in every industry, in every role, there's going to be someone who looks down on you. Absolutely. And that's something that I realized quickly in my career. I thought if I can just get out of this I'm a therapist mindset, then I'm going to be happier.
Viewed different.
Then I'll be viewed happier. Then you're going to sales and a trainer, and then you still have people who are like, no, cancel. Or I don't want this, or I don't like you. There's actually more opportunity for people to not like you now.
Absolutely.
And that actually reminds me of the dermatologist that we both worked for. She reminded me that no matter what industry you're going to be at, I remember sitting at a desk, she said, there will always be someone that's going to look down on you. I didn't believe her at that point. But now I'm like, okay. So. But now I really do value that. Yes. And now I understand once again why having a strong identity in yourself is so important, even in sales.
Yes. And I think being able to motivate yourself, it makes that rejection so much easier to handle, because you're like, okay, it's a no from you, but it's not a no to me as a person. It's just a no to what I have to offer, and that's perfectly okay.
Exactly. Sine, tell me quickly, we've looked obviously at what you do on a day-to-day basis. What is the best part? You've been with Stir now for about a year. What is the best part for you in this year that you've seen? Obviously you've grown personally as well. What is the best what is the best things you can take out of this year, and give advice to maybe someone that is aspiring to go into this kind of direction? They feel like this is a good idea. Maybe you can give some advice.
Yes, I think what really helped me is having a mentor. And for those of you who don't know, so Cleo has been my mentor since like the very baby Sine I am. And so I think having a good mentor in the space that you are, someone you can bounce ideas off, someone who supports you, someone who's there to say, listen, girl, you're making a big mistake. I think those are all important. And then I think having a vision, and that is something we are so fortunate to have within our company, is he really like pushes you into a vision. And sometimes the vision is so big, you're like, holy cow, what is this man thinking?
Yeah.
And then he allows you to grow within yourself. And the more you think of that vision, you almost become that person in the process. And I think for me, that has been the most valuable thing, to have a mentor and to work towards a vision. I think setting daily goals for me is quite motivating. So even if I say, I want to tick 5 things off my to-do list, it doesn't have to be, I have to make a gazillion million sales. It's just like those small wins every
That'd
day.
be great though.
That'd be amazing. But I think just those small wins always tally up to that big vision. And I think having something that you can look at and aspire to be, it's so important to keep you motivated and to keep that growth continuously.
In this industry, like you just said, it's ever changing.
Forever.
So that is something that our MD taught me. I didn't like this in the beginning. I don't like change at all. I don't like change.
And I love it. I love it. So exciting. It's like,
I'm like, no, I don't want to change. I don't want my role to change. I'm comfortable. And changing is a part of this industry.
Absolutely.
This is such a versatile, and it's an ever-growing industry. So another reason why I think it's so amazing to actually go into somatology or studying this, because I mean, if I'm looking at us now, we are obviously a distributing company of capital equipment. And when you go internationally to the congresses and things like that, you just see technology is taking over, literally.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something maybe for another episode as well. But we can really unpack our technology and what technology we can utilize in our clinics to actually help us to do our job better as well.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I love technology because I feel that obviously technology has so much more power than our hands. And even though that personal touch is so important for our industry, we want to have that personalization. I think technology is, at the end of the day, what sets you apart.
The really cool thing, and another reason why you should go into this industry, is because AI will never be able to replace us.
Absolutely. We're very fortunate.
I mean, I will definitely have to we're going to search far and long to get someone that can give a facial massage like some of the girls do.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think just that personalization is something that AI will never be able to.
Yes.
What do you think is the technology or the future of technology, or how will technology really benefit this industry in the long run?
I think obviously you can only do so much with a topical application of anything. And our technologies really enable us to work so much deeper in the skin. And obviously with the technology that's evolving, we're getting so little downtime with maximized results, which I feel that your topical agents will never be able to compete with. Yes, there is a place for them. We want that superficial penetration or rejuvenation or hydration that's happening within the skin. But I think it's so important that we realize that technology will definitely make a bigger impact on the skin or on whatever condition you are treating, purely because it's getting so advanced.
And I think that's, once again, another career that you can go into.
Absolutely.
This brings me to my next point. You can go into product development, which is
Absolutely.
super
interesting.
It's so interesting.
Yes.
I think there will be some additional courses. I have known of a lot of people who actually go and do a BSc after somatology because they've learned a little bit of that chemistry that they did, and then they're like, oh, that's my direction.
Exactly.
But they never would have gone into that direction if they didn't study somatology.
Absolutely. It just ignites that little flame in you.
As well as the actual technology, and once again, that's a talk for another day. I think we're going to start landing this plane. So now I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, I'm ready.
We're definitely starting a little tradition here. You will then obviously leave a question for our next guest. I want to ask you a question, and that question is: what treatment do you or can you not go 1 month without? Or product. It can be a product or it can be a treatment.
Okay, product. I definitely would say it would be the East Clinical Pro Heal. Absolutely loved it. Saved my skin. The best. Love. I think treatments, I'm actually quite bad with doing my treatments and keeping up with treatments, but I do have a favorite, and I think it will always be the Lumeka from In Mode. It's my absolute holy grail.
Amazing. So definitely something we can unpack as well.
Absolutely.
We are going to land that plane right here, guys. So we will see you on our next episode. And it was fun having you guys today.
Thank you for tuning into the Aesthetic Perspective. We'll see you soon.
Bye.